presentation is conducting polymer nanocomposites. So before we start, first of all, let us briefly discuss about polymers. So what are polymers? Actually, we are all surrounded by polymers everywhere. From our daily life, from our morning toothbrush to the restaurant pillow to the bathroom slippers, we are all surrounded by polymers. Even our human body is made up of polymers. The DNA, RNA, protein, all are polymers. So but initially, these polymers were known to be insulators. But with the 1977 ChemCom paper by these eminent scientists, Heeger, Shirakawa, and McDermott, there came a big revolution in the field of polymeric science with the idea of plastics conducting electricity. And the first polymer that was found to be conductive was polyacetylene on doping with iodine. And after that, and for this work, these scientists were awarded Nobel Prize. And after that, there were many other polymers that were discovered to be conductive, such as polyaniline, polypyrrole, polythiophene. Their derivatives, like a derivative of polyaniline, is anisidine, toluidine, and many paraphenylene derivatives. So there's all, and after that paper, the research in the field of conductive polymers grew by leaps and bounds. And there are a lot of papers that have been published in the field of conductive polymers. And here is the list of the conductivity of these conductive polymers. This is just for a reference. Actually, you can get much higher or lower conductivity depending on your reaction conditions. For example, in the case of polyaniline, it is mentioned as 10. You can get even 1 Siemens, or you can get much higher value. So among conducting polymers, polyaniline has been widely studied, and it is the most studied polymers in the last 50 years. And that is due to some very good reasons. That is, it is the low cost of monomers. It has very good stability. The conductivity can be tuned by simple acid-base chemistry. By simple redox chemistry, you can change from conductive to insulating state. And polyaniline is highly stable. You can polymerize aniline, or you can get composite and you can keep in a bottle, and it will be very stable. And there are a lot of applications of polyaniline in electrical, electrochemical, and optical applications. I think most of the applications of polyaniline is due to it is very cheap, and it's very stable. Apart from polyaniline, there are other conducting polymers that have been widely studied. That is polypyrrole and polythiophene. But in contrast to polyaniline, the polypyrrole and polythiophene, polypyrrole is not that much processable, and polythiophene has a little bit lesser stability. But we have this polythiophene has found a lot of application in solar cells in combination with PSS. You have seen this chemical P-dot PSS. Polythiophene has found a lot of application there. So in case of polyaniline, we have this lot of states, but there are two major states, that is conductive and the non-conducting states. The conductive state is called as emeraldine salt form, that is the green form, and the non-conductive state is called as the emeraldine base form. And you can see the green and blue color, and you can easily change go from green to blue by simple acid-base chemistry. For example, if you have emeraldine salt form, you can treat with some base, you neutralize the acid, you wash, and you can get the base form, that is a non-conducting form. And if you have the base form, you can treat with some acids or any anionic dopant, you can get this green form. So the conductivity can be easily tuned. And after that, we can see the synthesis of this conducting polymers. Generally, conducting polymers in lab, they are synthesized by oxidative polymerization methods. For example, you take some acid solution, you take oxidant, you take monomer, and you can easily polymerize the monomer in the lab. And you can get various morphologies like nanofibers, nanorods, nanoparticles. And another methodology is this electrochemical polymerization, where you have working electrode and counter electrode, and you get deposited conductive polymer film. But the most commonly adopted route is the oxidative polymerization, because due to its ease, and you can easily polymerize aniline, pyrrole, thiophene, by using oxidant like ammonium persulfate, potassium persulfate, ferric chloride, and others. Although polyaniline has a lot of merits, but there are some disadvantages of polyaniline. That is also with most of the polymers. That is, they have poor thermal stability. The degradation may start at some particular temperature. There is loss of conductivity with time, with aging. Conductivity retention is poor. That's during cycling aging conditions, we see that conductivity retention is poor. 3-4 cycles, there is some loss in electrical conductivity. So because of that, the polyaniline is not used alone. It is used in combination with some metal oxide to impart the stability, to impart the conductivity. So a lot of composites of polyaniline has been prepared. For example, here we can see this is polyaniline titanium dioxide nanocomposite. This is one-pot synthesis of polyaniline titanium dioxide nanocomposites. And here the authors have got very good surface area of polyaniline titanium dioxide. Here there was in situ synthesis of titanium dioxide as well as polyaniline chain. So the synthesis of titanium dioxide ruptured and increased the porosity of this polyaniline chain. So we got a very good increase in the total surface area. Here also we can, in case of polyaniline titanium dioxide and graphene composite, we can see a much increased surface area of this ternary nanocomposite. So similarly, a lot of other composites have been prepared, like polyaniline graphene oxide doped with carbon-based materials. This is by hydrothermal treatment, and here we can see a mixture of this polyaniline nanofibers as well as sheets of graphene oxide or graphene. This is by SEM, and this is the TEM image. As far as synthesis is, there are a lot of ways to synthesize this conducting polymers, but in generally there are 3-4 methods that are adopted. Number one is the soft template growth approach. Number second is the hard template growth approach, and number third is the template free approach. In the case of this soft template growth approach, generally some surfactants or some directing agents are used, like CTAB, cetyl trimethyl ammonium bromide, beta cyclodextrin, and the polymerization is done in that micelle. For example, the surfactant, they have a tendency to form micelle at particular critical concentration. So at that concentration, that is called a CMC. So at that concentration, they can act as a directing agent for the polymerization of aniline monomer or pyrrole monomer, and we can get a directed morphology. For example, we can get an elongated tube. If we can somehow manage, we can get, apart from this, temperature and pressure is also very important. So we can get a directed morphology like this. In this case, we got nanofibers. And here in the case of polyaniline CNT, we got very good coating of polyaniline on CNT and pure elongated polyaniline fiber, which, and in other case, the fibers were very short. Other is the hard template growth approach, in which we use some hard particle like polystyrene, we can use silica, and to get a particular morphology like core shell. So here we used polystyrene, and on that the authors have coated polyaniline, and after the removal of polystyrene core, we can get a hollow polyaniline particle. This is simple polymerization. This is rapid mixing technique. This is template free. There is no template used. So this is a simple acid, and we get a very good elongate, short nanofibers. There is no, it's only acid, oxidant, and monomer, and that's done. Okay. Another approach is how we can change the morphology is by milling, mechanical milling. So here in this case, we use mechanical milling in our lab of this fibers, polyaniline fibers, and by simple long time milling, we were able to break these fibers into, and this is the intermediate state. We were able to break these fibers into this is small spheres, and this is the 10 images. And this is the original first picture, first stage, and this is the intermediate, and this is the last stage. And apart from this morphological analysis, one of the most important factors in polyaniline is the temperature at which you do the polymerization. Here in this case, we increase the temperature, we polymerize aniline at much higher temperature, above room temperature, and this slow polymerization gave very good crystalline polyaniline in case of amorphous polyaniline, which we get in normal conventional polymerization. So apart from this, we can use nanoparticles for adsorption of aniline, and for example, here we have used graphene for adsorption of aniline, and consecutive polymerization can give you very good crystalline features. In this paper, the authors have coated polyaniline on copper oxide. So the polyaniline can also be used for coating of coating on nanoparticles, nanosheets, and we can get very good easily by this managing the reaction conditions. We can get very good uniform coating as well as thin coating. But if you use large amount of monomer, then you'll get bulk polymers. This is one of the papers from one of papers. There's a lot of experimental conditions which show different morphologies of polyaniline. For example, if you use ferric chloride, you can get then rambutan-like holous shell. If you use N-phenylenediene aniline, you can get sea urchin. So by changing the oxidant, by changing the chemicals, you can get different morphologies of polyaniline. This is one of the very cited, I think, took from internet, and one of the very highly cited paper from RSC. And apart from this powder, polyaniline can be easily processed into films, flexible films. For example, you can get emeraldine base, you can solubilize in NMP, DMSO, DMF. NMP is best. You can solubilize and you can add some. If you want to add, you can add some nanoparticles like graphene, carbon nanotubes, or some other thing, and you can get a very good flexible film of polyaniline by solution casting method. This is one of our old papers, maybe a decade back, where we synthesize polyaniline, this graphene film, and polyaniline carbon nanotube film. So here we got that the dispersion in the case of polyaniline graphene is much uniform in comparison to polyaniline carbon nanotubes, which we later improved. Yeah. So coming on to the electrical properties, the conducting polymers, the electrical property of conducting polymer depends on the moisture content. It is depends on the dopant acid, that is the inorganic acid, surfactant, or mineral acids, fillers, and temperature. As per my experience, I think for conductivity, highly conductive polyaniline, the dopant acid is more important than the filler. The filler can impart little bit conductivity, it can impart stability, but if you want to get very highly conductive, you can use a good dopant like paratoluene sulfonic acid or camphor sulfonic acid. This is the DC electrical conductivity of polyaniline carbon nanotubes. And here we see that in the case of polyaniline, the conductivity is much low. It's around 0.4 Siemens per centimeter, but on loading with carbon nanotubes, the conductivity increased. And on further loading, the conductivity decreased. And so the highest amount of filler at which you get the highest conductivity is called as the percolation threshold. So in the case, I think it was around 1%. And this figure shows different types of charge transfer from in case of conductive composites. That is, for example, here in this case, polyaniline graphene, can be along graphene, along polyaniline chain, from polyaniline chain to polyaniline chain. That is the charge transfer of electron from graphene to graphene, from polyaniline to graphene, and from graphene to polyaniline. And next is the DC electrical conductivity under aging conditions. And we discussed that we studied the DC electrical conductivity of polyaniline under aging conditions. And we see, we measure the electrical conductivity of polyaniline from around 35 to 150 degrees centigrade. And this is the cycle 1, this is the cycle 2. And we found that the conductivity decreases. That's why this is one of the major problem, and that's why we add fillers. And we change dopant and others to increase the conductivity or increase the retention and stability. And coming on to the applications of polyaniline, this is one of our previous paper. Just this from this paper, I can tell you that here we prepared conductive polyaniline, this polyflexible polyaniline film, and was sputtered with this copper oxide. We sputtered with copper oxide by RF sputtering, and we got a very good flexible RF sputtered polyaniline graphene copper oxide composite film. And here we can see this sputtered copper oxide in contrast to polyaniline graphene film. Here we can see the sputtered copper oxide in clusters or as single particles. They are well distributed, and we can see a very thin 55 nanometer thin film of this copper oxide. And we this FM analysis also show this copper oxide fill in the valleys of this polyaniline and graphene. So this is the XRD and XPL. They show that successful formation, but this here we similarly we studied the electrical conductivity and aging studied to check the stability of our composite, and we did this photocatalysis and under visible light, and we got slightly improved results of photocatalysis of our composites in contrast to polyaniline graphene. And as far as the photocatalysis mechanism, we propose 4 different types of heterojunction, that is copper oxide polyaniline heterojunction, copper oxide graphene heterojunction, polyaniline graphene heterojunction, and the ternary heterojunction, copper oxide graphene and polyaniline heterojunction, by which the transfer of electron takes place. And we got very good reproducible results. And another application is the gas sensing. The conductivity or the resistivity is one of the major main factor that is exploited for the measurement of gas sensing, and a lot of papers have been published on polyaniline using resistivity based sensors. So here we have previously we used our 4-pro system, but now we have much improved. This is from very old paper. So we got very good results of this after exposure to ammonia. We got very good results, and we got much decrease in the electrical conductivity when we exposed to ammonia, and after that there was restore of the electrical conductivity in air. So this can be we checked for multiple cycles, 10-15 cycles, and we got good promising results. But this was one of the steps towards making very good sensors. But this is and this is the mechanism of the gas sensing. Here we propose that during the exposure of this ammonia to this amine nitrogen, it interacts with the amine nitrogen and it forms unstable complex, and this restricts the movement of charge carriers, and this drops the conductivity. But under ambient conditions, the ammonia goes and the conductivity is restored. But during long exposure, there is electrical compensation, that is neutralization, and that will also decrease the conductivity. And another application we did is dye absorption, heavy metal removal. We exploited the functional groups of polyaniline. For example, this functional group, this is a positively charged functional group for the absorption of chromate ions and dyes like Congo red, and we got very good promising results. And this is from one of our previous paper. Where we simply, this is very simple work, Here we simply made polyvinyl chloride fibers, and we functionalized with polyaniline. And this was done by just mixing polyaniline, PVC solution in water under very high stirring conditions. So we got very good this absorption results here, and that was associated with the functional groups of this polyaniline that were responsible. And this is also one of the mechanism for the absorption. This is one of our paper where we used polyaniline composite for the absorptive removal of dyes. And here we can see this absorption of dye, and in the end we get a very good colorless sample. Another application of polyaniline can be done in protective coatings, corrosion. For this, generally polyaniline or polyaniline-based composites are solubilized in some solvent, and they can be coated, they can be sprayed uh, uh, on steel, on iron, and after that corrosion studies can be done. And this is from the this is one of the results, and we can see that in the case of polyaniline coating, we got much this is bare steel surface. We got this under in SCL, it is highly corroded, but in the case of polyaniline, the corrosion see corrosion is very less, and but there has to be some optimum amount of graphene in the composite, because this is polyaniline graphene. Sorry, this is polyaniline graphene. So there was some optimum amount of graphene, and at higher loading of graphene, the results were not as good. So, for example, that's why the composite has to be optimized for corrosion. So this is to show the application of polyaniline. You can also use make polyaniline paints, and you can easily from brush you can easily coat on surfaces. And this is also some images where it is showing pit corrosion, and in the case of polyaniline graphene, the corrosion has reduced. A lot of work is done on conducting polymer for energy storage application. Here we are exploiting, our group is exploiting some of the composites for energy storage application, and for the supercapacitor and for batteries. So this is some of the work that is undergoing. This is some of the parameters of energy storage application. These are some of the facilities that are at the center of nanotechnology, that is SAM, TEM, and you can see all the facilities that are available here. This is, I acknowledge my group, my department, and I thank you all for the talk. Many thanks.
Please, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Umesh. I think our audience has some question. Anyone has question, please?
Yeah, sure, sir. I am Subhanshu Srivastava. I want to some questions. I have some questions.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for opportunity for asking a question. My question is, if here the material GC3N3 graphitic carbon nitride that are we use for gas sensing. So what are the efficiency of the gas sensing, and what are the gases that we use for sensing through this material?
See, you can use any gas that can decrease the electrical conductivity or affect the electrical conductivity. We have used this ammonia derivatives. You can use any amines. You can use volatile organic components, compounds like acetone, ethanol. All this you can use. And if you want to use graphitic carbon nitride, I haven't checked the sensing of graphitic carbon nitride, but you can quote slight amount of polyaniline, you can check. But apart from graphitic carbon nitride, one of the most important thing is the dopant, what dopant you are using. For example, if you can functionalize with paratoluene sulfonic acid, you can functionalize, so you get very good conductivity. So if you have miserable conductivity, then only you can see the results. If you have very poor conductivity, for example, 1 Siemens per centimeter, then the results are not very good. You cannot get a miserable conductivity, and so the drop in conductivity is very less. That's why then you will not get very good results. So first of all, you can have to have very high conductivity, and you can use fillers like graphitic carbon nitride to increase the porosity. If you increase the surface area and porosity like this, you can use, but I haven't used graphitic carbon nitride, but it can be used.
Yeah. And even if I doped graphitic carbon nitride with non-metals like boron, sulfur, and other non-metals, So what are the efficiency of the sensing are much increased. So basically my question
you have to
is,
check. You have to check. See, there are different mechanisms. There is resistivity based mechanism. There is P injection mechanism. So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have to check. For example, you can use titanium dioxide. You can use zinc oxide. You can dope. You can dope and you can check. There is always a very good possibility that this nanofillers will increase the sensing of this polyaniline. Yeah, there
Yeah.
is always a possibility.
So, sir, one more question. The graphitic carbon nitride and other conducting polymers like biopolymer in case of chitosan and
Graphitic
others.
carbon nitride is not conducting polymer. Graphitic
Okay,
carbon
so
nitride is not conducting.
chitosan is a conducting polymer, and
Yeah, you use Peterson, yes. Okay.
yeah. So, if I want to make a paper-based electrode for hydrogen evolution reaction, so what are the
You can
possibility with these materials?
you want to paper-based electrode. For example, you want to this paint on paper.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
basically,
see for the paper-based electrode, many different approaches are there. You can use this polyaniline slurry, and in that you can by in situ polymerization or by mixing, you can add
yeah,
this graphitic carbon nitride, or and you can paint on paper. You can get a by doctor blade method or by just layering. You can get a electrode and you can dry. But the thing is that after drying, you have to see that the film does not break. So you can add some processable things like you can add some non-conducting polymers in that. For example, you can add PMMA, PVC. You can add in that.
yeah,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, so like these things, and then you can